Hi Stampers! It's kind of a snowy evening here in Minnesota, and I'm going to show you how to make a fun gift basket card. You know, you can create anything on the front of your card. It's mostly the inside that I'd like to show you how to make. To begin with, we're going to start with a piece of cardstock that is cut to 5 by 8 inches, and then just score it at 4 inches, you know, down the middle. And then we're going to fold that, and we're going to do some cutting along that fold. We're going to start at the 1 inch mark here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our cutting blade and go to 1.5, you know, from the folded side. We have the folded side here. We're going to go from 1.5. And I like to start there just because it's easier not to slip past it. And then go back and forth a couple of times. This fold is going to be really hard to get cut through because you're cutting both layers of the paper. So then our next cut is going to be, you're going to slide this over to 2 inches. And this one is going to be, again, at 1.5. Because this is going to be one of the packages. So you're going to go to 1.5. Just keep going back and forth until you feel really good about having cut this all the way through. Then you're going to slide your paper down to 3 inches. So you're going to have this at 3. And our next cut is going to be 1.25 inches. So we're going a little bit shallower on this one. So we're going to go 1.25 inches. Back and forth. And then our last cut is going to be at 4 inches. And this one is going to be 1 inch. So you can see when I flip this over, it didn't quite make it through all of these cuts. So rather than flip it to the other side, I like to take my trimmers, or my little snips, my paper snips, and go ahead and carefully complete that cut. Then our next step is going to be scoring. So get your cutting blade well out of the way before you do this. Be going this direction. Okay, so at 1 inch, you're going to score between the 1 and the 2 inch mark. Go ahead and give that a good score. And then at 1.25 inches, you're going to score between 2 and 3. And then at 1.5 inches, you're going to score between the 3 and the 4. Now, I like to take this and then fold it on that score line. Flip it over the other way. It's nice if you can get these really well scored. Okay. So then we're going to open this up. And you're going to see our little packages in here. For decorating our packages, okay, you're going to cut 3 pieces of designer series paper, 1 inch wide, or 1 inch wide, I'm sorry again. And then they are going to be 1 by 2, 1 by 2.5, and 1 by 3. And if you just go ahead and fold those so that they have a little score line to them. And this paper that I'm using here is the Love Blooms Designer Series paper stack, which is in season for Valentine's. But any DSP that matches your theme is going to work. Okay, so then you might want to make sure first, in case your folds aren't quite right. Like I've noticed this one looks a little bit long here, because you don't want these to be too long. So just go ahead and trim off any excess. Alright, and then you can either use a glue stick or your snail, you know, whichever you prefer. And I like to put one side, you know, start on your fold. Make sure you have it straight, and then put one side down and then the other. Just go ahead and burnish it real well so that it lays flat. This one I'm going to leave without a greeting. To decorate these little boxes, you know, you can see on this one, I've actually just taken strips of this paper, flipped it on the back side because these have a front and a back, and then just trimmed off pieces and used them, you know, like ribbon on the side, and then I've punched out some flowers. Here's another box where I've actually taken ribbon and wrapped around, you know, for a little decoration on there. Now, when you go to adhere this to your card base, and you're just going to, you know, have a standard size card base, again, I would suggest you can either use a glue stick or liquid glue that would give you a little bit more time, or if you're impatient like me, just go ahead and use your snail, but place it, you know, place it on that center fold and get it lined up where you want it, and then go ahead and fold this over and burnish that. Do one side at a time, and then go ahead and do your other side. I like to glue along each of these edges because I'm thinking it'll have it'll be like a stress point there. So then just go ahead and do that, and then you'll have it on your card base. Blooming Hearts Framelit. So I've cut this out of the Love Blooms paper, and then it didn't really show up on the pink pirouette paper. So I went ahead and I glued it with the fine tip glue pen, and I did lay some blocks on top of it to get it nice and down, you know, glued solid, and then I left it sit while we were doing the other part of the video. So this is on the Blushing Bride Glimmer paper, and I just hand cut this heart out around here. So it looks a little plain, so I'm going to take these flower stamps from the What I Love celebration set and go ahead and make a little background here, and I really like this. It says, "Know what I love," and then there's another stamp that says, "You." I like to stick with some kind of soft colors, so I think I'm going to start with a soft suede for the greeting. And I'm just going to, keeping in mind that I want my heart to be about there, I'm going to get for the flowers, I'm going to start with a just a black ink. I'm using the Memento right now for my first step, and this is a 3-step stamp, and you'll notice that they have, when you use them, they have a little notch on the edge of the stamp, and this is going to tell you which direction they're all facing. So go ahead and put that notch one direction and remember where you stamp it. So then each one of your layers is going to go that same direction, and it'll line up easy peasy. And I'm going to keep them either one direction or the other for that arrow. And 3 always seems to be a good number, so I think I'll do one more here. There. And then I am just going to go with the pink pirouette for this, and it's kind of amazing. Now you would think when you're stamping pink pirouette on top of pink pirouette that it really wouldn't give you much of a distinction, but let's just see what it does. So we're just going to keep this now you can kind of see just that little bit of difference in there. And now I'm just going to use pink pirouette again, so when I stamp over this, you know, with the same color, it'll get a little bit darker. Okay, so then we'll just layer this onto here. This die actually comes up with some flowers, and we can just see how they look on here. Now I've also got these these white perfect accents. Thanks for stopping by at the Roost. Hope you had fun and learned a few things while doing this card, and hope to see you again.